Correct. So yeah. So it's just I have this feeling that it kind of worked for the Indian guys to be. This is part of their culture. Like all Bollywood movies like this, the guys there in there are just invincible. You know, um, right. But anyways, this is probably working for them. Like especially working for Indian women, I guess. Like this is part of the culture. But anyways, like all of these things is contributed to one purpose, that how to distribute limited resources. That's it. That's it. Like limited resources, like women, like food, like money, like wealth, properties, power, things like this. This is all connected to how to distribute limited resources. Like in China, you have to respect and obey the old people. If they're older, they have more how to say. You have to listen to them. You have to really respect their opinions. So all of this is, but the thing is that I don't think the main theme of this world is limited resources anymore. I think what people are fighting for the future is unlimited resources, unlimited everything. You don't have to invent all these ways to distribute resources anymore, because you can have unlimited. Or let's just say it's easier to get more resources by yourself, using the tools and the knowledge you have, than to think of some tasteful way for everybody to get a share and shut up. You know what I mean? Like for everybody to get a share and be happy with what they get. That is a very, very complicated thing to do. That is very, very complicated. Yes, it's very, very delicate. It's very, very tasteful. It's almost art. But the thing is that I don't think this is what we're fighting for in the future anymore. What we're fighting for is just like Americans. Very, very tasteless. Very, very tasteless, but unlimited. Unlimited resources. I'm not saying every American is like that. Like American people actually are still very, let's just say, very stupid. Sometimes, because this is their mindset. Whenever there's limited resources, they just have to fight for it. For us Asians or rest of the old world, we already developed so many delicate ways. We already fought, and we don't think it's necessary to fight. So we come up with all these tasteful ways and all these ways to tell each person how they should, how much resources they should get and why. We come up with an entire system of that. We come up with so many rules, so many traditions, how to do that. But the thing is that American people are very stupid, right? They don't know how to do this. So whenever resources are limited, they fight, and it always leads to very disastrous outcomes. But the thing is that I think the future is still, unlimited resources is going to be what we fight for. What we want. Because if you have the energy to tell each person how much shares of the resources, or how much share of the money, how much share of the woman, what kind of woman they can get, what kind of resources they can get, or things like that. If you tell them you have the energy and you have the mind, you have the resources, you have the intelligence to come up with all the rules. Why don't you just go out there and work something and get more resources so everybody can have what they want? You know, for instance, in here, like in probably Asia or something like that, there are different levels of women that, you know, in India, they have different levels of last name that you have to obey. Like a certain last name is like, you know, your higher status and you can just get more stuff, you know. If you have a lower, you know, low class, you know, last name, family name, surname, you're fucked. And these people, they cannot marry each other. Still the same in India. Many places in India, it's the same. You cannot marry each other. You cannot marry like different surnames. You know, that's not okay. That's a very resource intensive system to define that system and to keep that system working. It's very, very resource intensive. You know, like in China, it's the same. You know, like we have different types of women. You know, some women are means they're how they don't tell you what kind of woman is better, but you know this kind of woman is better. You know, and if you get this kind of woman, that means a reward to you. You know, because you have reached a certain social class or social level. You know, because of the recent history of China, we don't have a lot of like very distinguished, you know, social class. You know, because of the communist, you know, the socialism stuff, you know, like all that stuff. But I think it's that there are a lot of old traditions that still tells you that this type of woman is, you know. But and if you are at a certain social level and you don't like this type of woman, you like more sexy and more open, more, let's just say, tasteless. You know, a woman without so much taste. You know, if you just want a simple, submissive, you know, like a waifu, you know, a simple, like very submissive waifu, that means you don't have the taste. You know, you don't have the, you know what I mean. But anyways, all these things that I don't think it exists. Maybe it exists in America, since they, you know, but it exists less. Like it's more freedom. Like what you want. It's more freedom but less tasteful. You know, like you know, for instance, like all the maybe some guy from India or some guy from China or some guy from Afghanistan or some guy from blah blah blah, they just fought for their entire life to get a social status and to have a family and raise kid and get recognized, you know. But their goal is just to pass on their genes, right? To pass on their genes and, you know, have food for their kid and have education for their kid and stuff like that. But then why don't you just find a woman and start, you know, making kids and then start getting food for them? You know, like why do you have to do all this stuff? You have to respect the elder. You have to you know, be friends with your enemy sometimes. You know, you have to know what they're like, the unspoken rules. You have to know like all this crazy series of, you know what I'm talking about. You know, you have to obey this. You have to laugh at jokes that you don't want to laugh at. You cannot do your own thing. You have to contribute a certain amount of time to your traditions and your community and your family and all that stuff. You know, like it's just crazy to me. You know, like, but all these things, all these resources, you know, but what we want is just unlimited resources. You know, women for everybody, food for everybody, property for everybody, just unlimited. If you have the time and resources to do all these things, why don't you go out there and just you know build something, grow something, or write something, invent something, whatever. Why don't you do that? Why do you have to learn all these rules and enforce all these rules, unspoken rules, traditions, and all that? Don't you have something better to do? Kind of situation. Yeah. So, I'm a very emotional guy. I'm very soft inside. I cry a lot inside my heart, but inside my heart, I'm crying all the time. But the thing is that I'm not like cold, like I'm not like cold, like some of the Asian people I met are really cold, like because they have their unspoken rules and all that, and other than their rules, they're very, very cold, They display sympathy only to certain people that knows about their rules, like if you don't know about their rules, they are very, very cold to you. But for me, I'm not that like that. I'm always very soft inside, like I'm always want to cry, I always laugh, inside me I always laugh, I always cry, I just don't show it to people that much, but I'm very soft. Yeah, but this is what I really think of what people are doing, or in terms of the future, what this is going, where this is going, because even if you want to have some sort of a game that tasteful, have some unspoken rules, you want to do all this stuff, there's something called games, the artificial, not games, but artificial environment, there's an artificial environment for you to do that. Let's just say movies is one type of artificial environment. Movies, games, it just gets more and more realistic. Yeah. Yeah. I hope that more and more people understand this, that this is actually what they want. And they cannot rely on some old system or to like, yeah, maybe is tasteless, maybe I'm not as tasteful as a lot of people, their own little life, their traditions, and but in the meantime more free, if I want to get into this tradition or these rules, if I met a girl that I want to impress her, like I want to make her feel warm and fuzzy and really, really, like that, like I understand what she's doing, I can do that, but I can also pull out at any time. I don't have to make commitment that I have to do this, I don't have to make that sounds very bad. I don't have to make sacrifices that I have to do that, I can pull out anytime. The reason I do this is because I want to make you happy. I want to make you happy. I want to make you happy. I want to understand you. That's why I'm doing this. Not because that I have to, that I need to get this piece of pussy, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. that if I don't get this piece of pussy, I'm going to get abandoned by this society, and I'm going to grow old, alone, and filled with regret. Things like that, like, yeah. And by the way, you guys have different rules, you know that? You guys have different rules, different people have different rules, like, that they want you to understand. It's not necessarily the same set of rules, but either way, that is really what I think. I'm going to explain this more in my novel when I'm writing. Not explain this, but just to make it more fun to read. But this is actually what I've been thinking. All right.